Jeffrey Pfeffer is a Stanford business professor who has written extensively on the best ways to manage employees. In The Human Equation, he writes about organizations that look for success in the wrong places and can cause irreparable harm and send them into a death spiral. For example, a company with performance problems, such as low profits, will respond with cost-cutting initiatives. These include reducing employee training, layoffs, salary freezes or cuts, outsourcing, and using part-time workers. Employees respond negatively to such tactics through a decrease in motivation and work output, losing focus on their jobs, making mistakes and causing accidents, and job dissatisfaction that leads to high turnover rates. The employee's response to the cost-cutting initiatives actually lead to a decrease in productivity and can negatively affect customer service, further compounding the problem of low profits. Jeffrey Pfeffer is a Stanford business professor who has written extensively on the best ways to manage employees. In The Human Equation, he writes about organizations that look for success in the wrong places, can cause irreparable harm, and send it into a death spiral. Jeffrey Pfeffer is a Stanford business professor who has written extensively on the best ways to manage employees. In The Human Equation, he writes about organizations that look for success in the wrong places and can cause irreparable harm and send them into a death spiral. For example, a company with performance problems such as low profits will respond with cost-cutting initiatives. These include reducing employee training, layoffs, salary freezes or cuts, outsourcing, and using part-time workers. Employees respond negatively to such tactics through a decrease in motivation and work output, losing focus on their job, making mistakes and causing accidents, and job dissatisfaction that leads to high turnover rates. The employee's response to the cost-cutting initiatives actually lead to a decrease in productivity and can negatively affect customer service, further compounding the problem of low profits. Pfeffer believes that profits are made through people and not by cutting costs. He developed the following 7 dimensions that exist within successful companies. Number 1. Employment security is the most important dimension according to research. Employees are less productive and inefficient when they fear their job will be eliminated when they complete their assigned tasks. This problem can be alleviated through assurances by leadership and employment security policies. Number 2. Selective hiring takes time but is well worth the investment to hire the best people. It is necessary to have a large applicant pool. The organization must identify the key skills and attributes they want the employees to possess, and the candidates should be screened on these specific attributes. To find employees who are well suited for the company, it is more important to hire on the basis of fit rather than on ability or intelligence. Number 3. Virtually all high-performance management systems use self-managed teams. This system frees management to focus on other strategic areas instead of spending time directly controlling the workforce. Teams also enable employees to pool their ideas and develop creative solutions. Number 4. Paying high wages leads to employee satisfaction, higher productivity, and reduces employee turnover. Furthermore, making compensation contingent on the overall performance of the organization increases worker motivation to put forth the extra effort and builds morale because employees feel it's fair that they share in the company's profits that they helped produce. Number 5. Training can be a source of competitive advantage, especially in the retail industry. Employees who are knowledgeable about the products they are selling provide better customer service and sales increase. Also, providing paid training encourages people to learn different jobs, and this flexibility benefits the organization. Number 6. Companies need to make all of their employees feel valued, and this can be accomplished through reducing status distinctions that separate employees into groups. Implementing a uniform dress code for all employees and eliminating special dining areas and reserved parking spaces are helpful tactics, as well as eliminating severe wage disparity between the lowest and highest levels within the organization. Number 7. Sharing information across an organization not only shows employees that they are trusted, but it also equips them with the knowledge they need to understand their jobs and subsequently perform their duties. When people don't know what is going on and don't understand the basic principles and theory of the business, they cannot be expected to positively affect performance.
In today's world, corporations are constantly faced with different challenges and obstacles, and are constantly trying to gain an advantage over their competitors. One way that organizations can accomplish this is through the use of managerial coaching of their employees. Managerial coaching has the ability to increase employee self-efficacy and self-confidence, as well as self-regulation. This can be extremely critical in times of rapid and stressful change and challenges which can occur within an organization. In Polsa and Matthew's research article, they discuss their research, which was done using financial analysts from a large Canadian bank to conduct their research on managerial coaching and its effects. Through their research, their hypotheses were supported in that managerial coaching indeed does have a positive influence in increasing employee self-efficacy and regulation, which can lead to higher confidence levels and greater performance and results for the employees and the organization. Having employees with increased self-efficacy and regulation can lead to better work ethic and better decision making during challenging circumstances. An increase in this area could also lead to greater results for the organization and a clear advantage over the organization's competition. Managing through coaching can be extremely crucial in an effort to gain competitive advantage over an organization's competition. This supports the idea of a positive relationship between managerial coaching and competitive advantage. Our present business environment consists of increased competition and rapid change, which has caused companies to become more responsive to different challenges. Managerial coaching has the potential to raise employee self-efficacy, confidence, and regulation, and can certainly be a recipe to sustainable competitive advantage for an organization.
In order to gain a competitive advantage through a company's employees, thought should be given to the recruiting and hiring process. According to Sarah Piker, a recognized recruiting expert, organizations that understand how to optimize the talent pool, both globally and locally, will be able to effectively recruit and retain, driving a sustainable competitive advantage. This concept is even more important with today's unemployment rates. Although the number of people available for work has increased, the size of the talent pool has basically stayed the same. That is because regardless of the number of people applying for jobs, the distribution of average, good, and great candidates in the talent pool remains unchanged. So the challenge goes further than finding the right people for the right jobs. Escalating numbers of college graduates are entering the workforce, but they will not possess the same knowledge and skills as aging workers. This requires organizations to invest in training and development to cultivate a workforce with the skills they require. Organizations need to fish where the fish are and consider those candidates with transferable skills, knowledge, and capabilities. They must refine job descriptions and candidate evaluations to identify people with teachable fit rather than the traditional fit. Some best practices in order to optimize recruiting efforts to gain a competitive advantage include: know what you need, but be flexible. Define what you need and be willing to broaden the scope of skills and talents you are looking for based on what is available. Consider redesigning jobs so they become more engaging for the people undertaking them. Identify individuals with transferable skills. Think about candidates with comparable skills from other industries, or expand your search by sourcing candidates in different geographies. Hire for innate talents and be willing to invest in training. You may find a candidate with the right attitude, experience, and problem-solving skills, but who is lacking a certain certification or skill set. Once you have defined the skills and talents required for a position, prioritize the characteristics most important to get the job done, and areas that can be successfully achieved through training. Draw from the in-house talent pool. Identify internal resources you can grow and nurture. Cross-train your workforce so they are able to perform a broader variety of tasks. Make diversity a reality. To bolster diversity, make sure the organizational culture will enable diverse employees to thrive. Be willing to invest in training so you can meet diversity goals. Identify and create alliances with national minority organizations or trade associations, and target recruitment advertising to minority publications. Build a candidate pipeline. Finding qualified talent is complex and time-consuming. Build bench strengths by cultivating relationships with candidates whose skills align with your organization's future needs. This way, when you have an open position, you can tap into a readily accessible talent pool. Gain access to expertise. Considering partnering with a recruitment process outsourcing provider to manage the influx of resumes, improve processes, and deliver a better candidate experience. By following these practices, a business should be able to recruit and hire from a gifted talent pool and thus gain a competitive advantage through their employees.
Human capital are made up of people, roles, and skills within an organization. According to a study done of the Academy of Management Journal, intangible resources are more likely than tangible resources to produce a competitive advantage. In particular, intangible firm-specific resources, such as knowledge, allows firms to add value to incoming factors of production. The study further argues that specific knowledge are at the core of the theory of the firm. And it further states that knowledge is the most critical competitive asset that a firm possesses. Much of an organization's knowledge resides in its human capital. Thus, firms create value through their selection, development, and use of human capital. Knowledge can be classified as articulable or tacit. Articulable knowledge can be codified and thus can be written and easily transferred. Tacit knowledge, however, is not articulable and therefore cannot be easily transferred. Tacit knowledge is often embedded in uncodified routines and in a firm's social context. More specifically, it is particularly embedded in individual skills and particularly embedded in collaborative working relationships within the firm. According to this study, tacit knowledge is integral to professional skills. As a result, tacit knowledge is most unique, difficult to imitate, and uncertain. It has a higher probability of creating strategic value than articulable knowledge. Professionals gain knowledge through formal education, which is articulable, and through learning on the job, which is tacit. Professionals who provide services are often required to have extensive education and training prior to entering in their fields. This knowledge and education comes with a cost to the company, and the company must be willing to invest in its human capital. Throughout this slide presentation, it is evident that human capital has a positive effect on business. However, companies must allow for human capital to thrive. Companies must also be willing to support human capital through human capital initiatives, through their HR department, or by other means. Human capital does come to a company with a cost. Many managers view human capital as a cost rather than an asset. A study done in the Academy of Management Journal suggests that early on in one's career, the positive effects to the company are not as great as those more experienced. Therefore, this only makes for a stronger case that the company must support its human capital. The Academy of Management Journal study, in conclusion, states, this research has potentially significant implications for both strategic management and human resource management, as well as for managerial practice. The results unequivocally suggest the importance of human capital for firms' performance. Many strategies come into play when companies are looking for an advantage over their competitors. Human capital is just one of those critical resources that companies must address and look at when seeking a competitive advantage in the market today.